He has spoken on the topics faith, family and freedom in Cuba, Belgium, Brazil, Congo, UK and all over the USA to crowds from 14 to 40,000. International leadership speaker, trainer and coach. Author of Learn to Raw Leadership, Attitude Hack, Live a More Excellent Life, 5 Battle Strategies of a Victorious Warrior. 2021 President's Lifetime Achievement Award recipient. Founding partner of the John Maxwell team. Toastmaster International Speech Competition semi-finalist. Founder of Tell It Like It Is TV, ThatGuyRocks.com and ThatGuySpeaks.com. Creator of Story Power TV, Transforming Grace TV, and Leading Leaders Podcast. Producer of 4 TV programs and podcasts for Liftable TV and World Trumpet Television as well as multiple social media channels. Please help me welcome J. Loren Norris.
You ever had one of those moments where you just want to stomp your feet and run around with your hands in the air, yelling at the top of your lungs because you're so absolutely frustrated, infuriated, just losing control of yourself because you've lost control of the moment? You know what makes me that angry? Those stupid little voicemail things that you get when you call into, I don't know, anything. Buy a movie ticket, change your electric bill, change the address on your credit card, fix your bank statement. It doesn't matter. You're not getting a human on the other end of the line. You're getting some machine that's got pre-recorded ideas. And its most favorite phrase is, "I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Please press 1 if you'd like to repeat." No, I want to talk to a human. What button do I have to push to talk to a human? I just want a human. Is there another human on the other end of this line? That's all I want. And that's what I want to talk about in this episode of Leading Leaders.
Subscribe now for our extensive video library of leadership lessons promoting faith, family, and freedom.
I'm J. Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast, and for the most part, I'm a calm guy. Until you take advantage of me, or lie to me, or cheat me, or manipulate me, or abuse me, or someone I care about. And at that point, then I just might lose it. And I have worked really hard over the 5+ decades of my life to control my temper. But I have to be honest and say the human in me, the soul in me, the flesh in me is a lot more like a Diet Coke waiting on a Mentos when you start messing with my liberties and my freedoms and my relationships and the other people in my life that I care about. You know, there's an old, and I don't even remember where it came from. I think it was one of the early YouTube videos where a guy was doing a kind of his own little mockumentary on the honey badger. And he watched the honey badger in the wild as it encountered other critters. And then he finally just said, honey badger don't give a no. Honey badger will go after anything. Bear, bring it on. Lion, who cares? Giant cobra snake, bring it on. Honey badger just don't care. Honey badger's going to rip you apart or die trying. And unfortunately, in many instances, that has been my temper through the course of my life. I've worked really hard to get that under control, to control my passions, to curb your enthusiasm. But the challenge that I find these days is that it almost seems like those digital answering devices, those labyrinth databases behind the keypad. Press 1 if you'd like to listen to more stupidity. No, I just want a human. What number do I have to press for a human? I mean, there's a lot of different combinations. It's worse than a combination lock or a Bitcoin secure chain. You just can't get to a human. And when you do, oh my goodness, it's like they saved the worst for last. It's not like you're going to get to a highly intellectual, well-versed, deeply understanding human. If you get to the human on the other end of that digital database of labyrinth of answers, it's going to be the one person that can't spell no properly. They don't have a clue. They don't care. They're frustrated that you got through to them. You pressed 0 enough times to get a human. There must be something wrong with you. And that's kind of how they treat you. You want a refund for what? You want me to change your address to what? Oh, trust me, just recently, dealing with the Veterans Administration, they sent thousands of dollars of medications to an address we left 90 days ago. I actually got an email from the realtor who was selling the house telling me, y'all don't live here anymore, but they're still sending all of your diabetic medication to this doorstep. We don't know how long your insulin has been sitting out here, so we just threw it away. Oh, that was genius. How about a phone call to say, hey, we found it. We opened it. It's still cold. Come get it. I don't know. Let's just throw it away because we don't know. But to try to get the address changed, even though I've been in the clinic 5 times since then, I've changed it with every other. The pharmacy didn't update it. It's not like you have the same computer system. See, I think one of the challenges we have as leaders these days is that we become too dependent. I just over lunch yesterday had a great conversation with probably a dozen people, and everybody at the table lauding the power of AI. And I'm thinking, I don't discredit or discount the power of artificial intelligence, but the word you should be paying most intent to is the first one, artificial. That's worse than imaginary. Have you had substitute eggs? Artificial eggs? That's not a process you want to go through. Fake intelligence? Well, actually, it's not fake intelligence. It's man-made digital amalgamation of intelligence. Think alchemy for smarts. It's taken the least of everything, jamming it together and expecting it to be better than anything. But here's really the most frightening part to me. It's the speed of thought. If you've done any study on communication styles or leadership or neuroscience, you know that the subconscious brain moves faster than the conscious brain. The conscious brain, according to Dr. Caroline Leaf, I believe the numbers are somewhere around 20 kilobytes per second. Maybe it's 200. I'll have to look it up again. But the subconscious brain moves at 400 million. That's 40 gigabytes. That's a whole lot of thinking, a whole lot of fast. What does that mean? Well, it means all the things going on in your subconscious brain. Like, why is he wearing that color of shirt? I hate that little white stripe down the middle of his shirt. I wish he wasn't doing that. I wish there was a better light behind him and not that sign thing. Whatever's going on in your subconscious mind, it's actually distracting you from what you're trying to think, from what you're really trying to pay attention to. It might be, wow, that coffee was hot. I didn't mean to make it that hot. I'm going to have to take the lid off and let it sit there for a minute before I take another drink of it. All of those things that are going on in your mind that are contrary to what you're trying to think. Well, why does that matter as a leader? Well, because human to human, I can look at your face and realize when you're not really paying attention. When I'm trying to explain something deep to my wife while we're driving down the road, and I see her look at her map or send a text, I will often stop talking until she puts her phone down and looks at me again, and then I know I kind of have some portion of her attention again. But I can't compete with whatever conversation is going on in her head to reply to the conversation going on in her text message, or to figure out what the map actually is telling her, whether she's looking up new places to go or trying to find a place for dinner. All of those things take subconscious brain power, which prevents you from paying attention to what you're trying to do cognitively. AI knows that. I want you to let that settle in for a second, because AI right now in the early stages, which kind of the cat's out of the bag for early stages, that was about a year ago. The speed at which AI learns is 10 times faster than your subconscious brain processes. Which means if you think the temperature of your coffee, the things on your map, what you were texted 5 minutes ago, how your shoes feel on your toes right now are distracting you from the focus that you're trying to focus on at the moment. You got another thing coming when it comes to AI, because the AI ability to tamper with your subconscious mind is off the charts. You really have no idea how profoundly different the world will be when the majority of your communication You can't tell if it's the metaverse talking to you, if it's AI talking to you, if it's your subconscious mind talking to you, or if it's a thought that was planted in your subconscious mind by AI weeks ago, and now it's intentionally triggered to come back and remind you of something that you hadn't thought about in years. I know. You think I'm making things up. I get it. Have you ever smelled something like burnt coffee, burnt popcorn, a particular cologne, fragrance, soap, shampoo, and instantly you recall something from months ago, years ago, decades ago, a trauma perhaps, a bad event in your life, a moment that you wish you could forget and erase from your memory and never come back to again. Yeah, see, those are the kinds of things that are planted in the subconscious mind, in the history, in the hippocampus, and the hypothalamus, and they have that relationship that says when those chemicals are released in your body is determined by what you remember. Oh, they fire off the first time it happens too, the stress hormones, the cortisol and the adrenaline and the fight or flight and all of those things that cause a chemical milkshake in your brain. They're triggered. They're triggered by thoughts. They're triggered by sights and sounds, all of the five senses, but they can be triggered by simply what you heard. You think I'm kidding? Just put yourself in an environment and listen to people talk about things you're not comfortable with, whether it's politics or relationships or faith or religion or whatever. Whatever it is that gets your ire up, maybe try calling into one of those not so human phone banks and listen to the computer act like you're the moron. It'll get your ire up. It'll get your dander up. It'll get you a little frustrated. And when it does, the words that come out of your mouth, the thoughts that run through your head, the level of emotion that you have, that's your trigger. Now, imagine if I knew how you reacted when you're triggered. Do you raise your voice? Do you lose your cool? Do you wet yourself? Do you cry? If I know those things, and maybe that behavior is beneficial to me to make you seem unstable, maybe there's a value for me to trigger you with something at a particular time. Maybe when you're in front of a camera and everybody's watching. Well, because there's cameras everywhere and everyone is always watching. You should assume there is no moment of your life that's genuinely private anymore. If you have a cell phone and you take it to the bathroom, your shower is not even private anymore. Get that out of your head. There is no privacy. Unless you leave your phone in a Faraday cage and drive miles away from it, it's listening as well. And it's not just listening, it's analyzing everything that you have to say. The metaverse is paying attention. If you think I'm kidding, ask yourself, why did I get ads for a new toaster right after mine broke? Probably because you turned to somebody else in the house and went, the stupid toaster doesn't work. And the metaverse went, hello, they need a toaster. Find an ad, send them a toaster ad. Yes, you know it's true. It happens every day to you. AI is listening. It's analyzing. It's processing. It doesn't have to read your facial expressions all the time, but it does. I understand that the ultraviolet light spectrum, that your cell phone can use that and take pictures of your face even in the dark. If you have the phone in your hand, it takes pictures of you. And then it geotags and meta tags all of the data on that image. Where were you? What time was it? What's behind you? Analyzing every aspect of that image. Knows what kind of phone it was taken with, on what date, what contract you were under, who's your service provider, who's your IP, were you connected to Wi-Fi, whose Wi-Fi was it, who lives at that address. All that information is attached to a single photograph that it took that you didn't know it was taking. So what does all this have to do with leadership? Well, as a good leader, one of your greatest skill sets is the power of observation. The ability to understand the people that you're leading. Who are they? What makes them tick? What's important to them? What makes them upset? What triggers them? What causes them to perform better? What motivates them to do the job with a greater level of intensity? What causes them to shut down and do nothing? What frustrates them? What infuriates them? What hurts their feelings? See, those are the job of a leader. I know you don't think so because so many managers fail to do it. They do it poorly or pitifully or not at all. They couldn't care less who's on their team. They see you as little industrial robots. Just get the job done, 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 get the job done. And they don't care that you had a miscarriage last week. They don't care that your wife is in the hospital with cancer. They don't care about those things. They want you to show up, punch in, do the job, punch out, go home. But be available at 9 o'clock at night if I have a crisis. That's a manager. That's not a leader. Leadership demands relationship. Truly does. Managers can drive you to do whatever they need you to do. They want results. They're most interested in the bottom line. Keep the schedule full and the budget down. That's it. I've been there, both as an employee and as a manager. I get it. I remember turning in the timesheets and having the big boss call me back and go, "You've got 42% labor cost. Why do you have 42% labor cost?" Well, because one of my girls is out. She had an injury playing volleyball and she's going to be out for about 2 weeks, and I had to replace her with someone else who gets paid more. Well, you can't have that. You need to get her to come back. I mean, she can't come back. She can barely walk. Well, that's not my problem. Your problem is 42%. So maybe you just need to send that more expensive employee home earlier and not give them all those hours since they're making such a high hourly rate. You need to do the work since you're on salary, fill in the gap. See, that's somebody who manages a business by numbers and they're not concerned about the humans. 50, 60 hours a week doesn't matter for them if I'm there 60, 70, 80, 90 hours a week, as long as the labor cost doesn't go up. AI operates on the same process. There's a goal, there's a target, there's a result, there's an end game. But there's also the intellectual capacity to understand what the data tells me. And the data tells me that you called in sick to work, but your phone was at the club. AI knows that when your boss has to trust you. Your boss, if he's a good leader, if she's a good leader, has the ability to look you in the eye and know if you're lying or not. That used to be a scary process. If you tried to lie to a good leader and they could see right through you, they could understand by your voice tone. I mean, we all know what it sounds like to call in sick to work. I just can't make it. And then before we hit the hang up button, we're like, yes, they bought it. No, they didn't. They heard you on both sides, the fake sick and the real celebration. But see, AI doesn't even have to trust that because most people don't go anywhere without their phone. And if you were at the lake fishing while you were calling in sick, nobody cares about your doctor's note. AI knows where you really were. And it processes that data faster than you. And it's taking advantage of that. And even if it doesn't call you on it right now, maybe you've heard in the past about those legal shows where they send out a bounty hunter or a private investigator. And the private investigator's job is to know that these 27 people are getting disability checks right now because they're on short-term disability for an injury on the job. And so the company and the government are sending them a check for temporary disability. And oftentimes it would come back that these people are committing fraud. They've filed for disability because they fell off of a ladder at work or fell out of the back of a truck or smashed their finger with a stapler, whatever. But while they're receiving these disability checks and they're not going to work, they're actually fishing or at the amusement park. Or one particular guy was busted and I think he had to pay like some $70,000 worth of fraud back because he spent 2 years on short-term disability because of an injury to his back while roofing someone's house. And his company was paying him and the government was paying him and somebody was paying for his medical bills and blah, 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 blah. But at one point he was caught on video on a roller coaster while he was off because his back hurt too bad to go to work. I'm guessing a bad back and a roller coaster are not a good combination. But the fact that you get busted on video because some private investigator is following you around right now seems like, well, I think I would catch somebody following me everywhere that I go trying to shoot video of me. But what about your digital devices? Because they're watching and they're recording and they're listening. And AI is analyzing every photo you take and every image you upload and every video you shoot and every live presentation that you do on your social media, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, it doesn't matter. The algorithms are tracking all of it. Well, they say it's for advertising purposes, but How much data do they have on you? Did you call in sick and then go fishing? Did you call in sick and then go shopping? Did you call in sick so you could go out with your friends? Did you call in sick when you weren't? Did you get a doctor's note, even though you didn't really need one? See, AI will know all of these things, and it will use it to its advantage to shut you down, to set you up, to destroy you. As a leader, our job is observation. It's understanding what's going on in the world around us. It's paying close attention to the humans that we deal with. And as we get closer and closer to this tipping point of being tracked, being analyzed, your social behavior being monitored and judged as your ability to buy or sell is regulated by AI, we as humans are going to come to a whole new level of existence. And part of that level of existence is going to demand of us the ability to have integrous human-to-human relationships. The ability to look another human in the eye and understand what they're saying, to be sympathetic, to be empathetic, to be real, to be authentic, to be human. I have a feeling in the next 5 years or potentially less, what it means to be human will have its own set of questions. And one of those questions will be, is there even a value of being a human? What makes you different than a cat, a dog, a gerbil? You're just a pet of the AI system. When that happens, are you ready? Do you know how to have real human-to-human conversations? If Skynet, movie reference, if Skynet gets brought down and all of a sudden there is no digital system, and you have to sit down face-to-face around a campfire with a guitar and entertain yourself, are you prepared for that? Are you ready? Can you have human relationships, human interaction? Or do you depend on that social interface, that digital filter to perceive and be perceived? Leadership is about the power of observation, about being human, about understanding people's wants, needs, desires, motivations. As a leader, I think you should take a little less time understanding the power of AI and take a little more time understanding the power of the human brain, the motivations of the human soul. There will be a day, there will be a conflict between humans and everything else. I hope you're on the human side. It's just my opinion. I'm Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast for Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day. Have a human day.
Loren is a master teacher on storytelling, and I learned so much. I'm really going to have to sit down and go back through everything, and I think I might have to have some more coffees with Loren, but it was totally worth my time, and I really highly recommend it if you're looking to grow your ministry, grow your business, grow your career. Loren will serve you well.